And I came here in 1986 to run it for myself, and I signed the papers, and I was owner of the Red Barn Incorporated. People come in here for the experience, more so than I think anything else. And they love the fact that somebody's actually taking the time to listen. Maybe you learn in proportion to how much you listen and care. If you can find that balance between doing what you love that isn't really work, that might pay the bills, and can resonate with people and actually to some extent help people. Without my customers, I would be doing what I don't love, guaranteed.
There you go.
I'm temporarily in charge, so we'll call the meeting of the MSAD 49 for school. That's why temporary. We'll call to order the meeting of the MSAD 49 Board of School Directors. Do we have a roll call?
Ms. Boyd?
Here.
Mr. Caverly?
Here.
Ms. Chesley?
Here.
Ms. Dumont?
She may not be able to make it.
Ms. Flagero?
Here.
Mr. Knox?
Here.
Ms. Kugelmeyer is unable to be here tonight. Mr. Liberty?
He's unable to be here.
Okay. Mr. Martin?
Here.
Mr. Michaud?
Here.
Ms. Rudnicki?
She should be here shortly.
Ms. Tompkins?
Here.
Ms. Toto Lawrence?
Here.
Mr. Short?
Here.
There's the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The MSAD 49 Board of School Directors vote to accept the minutes of the October 19, 2017 board meeting.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Me and
1,
then
2, 3,
Jerry.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Any opposed? Abstained? So 901. Are there any citizens who have input that they would like to present to the school board? Seeing none. We have a student report.
Yeah. Good evening. We have great news to share regarding students' academic, athletic, and accomplishments at Lawrence High School. So far, JMG, Pride, and National Honor Society brought 22 kids on a field trip to a leadership event at the Hyde School in Bath last Friday, the 27th. This event puts on workshops and hosts speakers for the students. 1,500 students go to the event from around the state, and all students who go hold leadership positions in their school. Lawrence focused on bringing juniors and seniors. JMG, Pride, and NHS plan to take students again next year. A blood drive is being held by JMG on November 16th. This is completely free for students to donate, and it will be held here at the multipurpose room. They will be focusing on students and staff from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Students who are at least 16 can donate with parental consent. If anyone wants to donate, please contact Mrs. Wood. Finally, JMG from Lawrence is partnering with Scout Keegan on December 1st for the holiday stroll parade. The only athletic event that is occurring is a football playoff game tomorrow. The team will have their home game against Brunswick at 7 o'clock. If our team wins, they will play next Friday for the Northern Maine Championship. Guidance counselors have been scheduling visits for college representatives who come to our schools so seniors have an opportunity to ask what colleges have to offer. Some schools, for example, are the University of Maine at Farmington, the University of Maine at Orono, and the University of Maine at Presque Isle. Also, last week on the 24th, sophomores who have English this semester went to the University of Maine at Farmington. Finally, KBCC will come on campus on November 15th and hold meetings with students, and students can get admittance decision for the college that day. The marching band recently ended their season last Saturday with a final score of 3 4-star ratings and 3 5-star ratings. They received an overall rating of 4 stars. As reference, the highest rating possible for their band is 5 stars. This has by far been the best year our band has done in the past 10 years. All in all, students and teachers have been very busy learning, working, and playing to make our school a great place to be. Most importantly, there are 121 days till graduation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Old business, we have the review of 2017-18 instructional improvement plans by the principals.
I believe everyone's received copies of that and past request by the board then to forego actual reviews in the meeting, but rather have an opportunity to respond to questions if there are any. So principals are here if anybody has specific questions.
Well done.
Now we have a discussion of the snow plowing at the Lawrence complex.
Yes. I believe everyone received a response from the town of Fairfield. You should have had a note with the back page with a map of the areas currently plowed. The agreement that the board discussed and voted on last time was by and large present, but number 3 on the agreement offered by the town ends the agreement on May 31st of this spring, meaning in future years there wouldn't be an agreement. So
I got a phone call into Mike Taylor, and I'd like to speak to a couple of other counselors, but maybe put this off for the next meeting until we have some more input. From my understanding, they would go further than this agreement, knowing that the circumstances we're both in. It's just a shift in the impact of town budget to our budget, and they're better equipped to handle what the plowing that they do for us. So I'd rather wait for next meeting.
is that a motion to table?
Please. Motion to
second.
table.
All in favor? It's unanimous.
Second on that.
Chair.
Maybe they just want to do a new agreement every year.
That was my thought as well.
And, I mean, they can
I
put that
don't-
clause right in.
I don't think so, but I'd rather leave it a little more open-ended.
New business, resignations, Kathy Oxley, Benton Librarian, resignation June 2018. Appointment. Committee reports, the Finance Committee has not met again. Is there anything from policy?
No.
Negotiations?
Negotiations met yesterday. We're just trying to prepare for the 2 contracts we have upcoming. Nothing further to report.
Facilities?
We had a meeting before the meeting tonight. We talked a little bit about the snowplow contract, and we talked about lead testing that was done, and issue with some air quality issues that Ben and the superintendent will probably go into more on his report on that.
The dropout committee?
We did meet. I was afraid you were going to forget. And we talked, we had, I thought a really good meeting. Mr. Campbell talked about the dropout rate. No, not the dropout rate, but the graduation rate is improving and looks to continue to improve due to a lot of hard work in all grades. We talked, Pam Ewing talked about the bar program, which we all had a presentation on last year, and that it's continuing to work well, and that they're bringing in more teachers, and they're hoping to continue to improve, well, not improve upon, but increase the amount of teacher support and students that are reached through the bar program. Also, the adult education director came and spoke, and they're doing a lot of really exciting things right now to help our students who have kind of, they may not have graduated the most traditional way, but they're really working to bring them back on the track and get in towards graduation, either through a diploma or through it's not GED, it's, yeah. HiSET, thank you. And through that testing. So, and they're also working on running a pilot program where they're doing some work study for students who have dropped out so that they can get into the work field and start feeling confident enough so that they can come back and continue with school. And finally, our last thing that we talked about was the attendance policy, and I think that the committee has decided they're going to do some looking into it and then present it to me, who I will then present it to the policy committee, and that maybe there are some changes that could be made to help improve attendance in a way that would be more proactive. And that is what we had for dropout committee.
The superintendent's report.
Well, it's the time of year coming again to be thinking of flu shots. And I know the storm that we recently had interfered with that. Mrs. Herson, you coordinated that in the district. Give us a summary, please.
We have convenient clinic at Benton and Albion in the primary school. We've rescheduled Lawrence Junior and Senior High for November 20th and Clinton Elementary for the 21st. And as that date approaches, say within a week or so, we'll send out a school messenger to remind families that that's available to them.
Do you have any sense so far of participation this year compared to others?
It is lower than it has been in the past, and I think it's a trend when you have an outbreak, you know, and the timing of that around this vaccine period. So people seem to be relatively healthy right now, and it's not so much a concern in the forefront. But you know, I'm sure that Maine General will be, you know, available to provide this service, you know, through this season.
Yes, thank you. I think we are all aware that we've had a major power loss as a result of a severe windstorm. We had no school district-wide on Monday, and on Tuesday, Albion and Clinton Elementary were without power, and yesterday it was down to just Clinton, and last night about 7:30, power was restored to Clinton Elementary, so I believe everybody was in school today. The Science and Social Studies committees met last week. We've talked about those groups several times. They're working on the second and third backup assessments for proficiency assessments that are noted on the report card. The last two committees assessments are due on April 6th, and math and language arts are due mid-December to break the work up and spread it over the year for teachers. We do have another unusual situation again this year where Mr. Packard informs me we do not have enough students to field a freshman girls basketball team. And I think he said there are only three schools, Mr. Packard?
There are 3 or 4 schools that will actually have freshman girls basketball this year in the whole KVAC. So it'd be also very difficult to get a schedule if we did have the students interested. So
How about boys?
Boys should be fine.
That brings up an issue where we can have an opportunity because we haven't had a JV girls coach, but Mr. Mercier, who we previously reviewed for the freshman team, I would plan to put in the JV unless there's concern from some quarter. Are you hearing any? Okay. Last year when we had our purported lead issues, we started an annual lead testing program. So we test the water sometime in the fall, annually now, and we just completed this year's lead testing, and all schools came in very low, which is gratifying to see. So we're still very safe, and that's confirmed. The state of Maine has made lead testing kits available free to schools, which allows for several sites within each building. We've taken advantage of that program. I know there's been some concern that several school districts in the state have not taken advantage of it, but we continue to be very aggressive in trying to ensure we're maintaining student safety. So we have a little bit of news from the schools, and I'm told that at Benton, they've been learning about perseverance.
Yes, so last Friday we had it was our second school-wide assembly, the first time we conducted one in the school. And we're carrying on our discussion from last year. We talked about in our school-wide assemblies kind of about a growth mindset, and the students did a series of activities, and I led some discussions with some animated videos. This year we're going to move towards kind of the idea of perseverance. So in my short talk on Friday, we talked about something that's called kind of the dip, and the idea that you get so excited about a goal, a challenge, but then, and that's kind of like the hilltop, and then once you get there and you realize that it's actually tougher than you thought, and you kind of get frustrated because you're not making that growth that you were, and that excitement goes down. So we're kind of talking about that as a school, and what are some strategies that you can do so you keep persevering and moving through that dip so you can get back to that mountaintop. So students, as an activity, they worked with their teacher to develop a series, or a kind of a single challenge or goal that they're working on right now, and that they're going to commit to. So those are posted, I'll pass up quick handouts, on our bulletin boards. We have 2 bulletin boards, one for the upper grades and one for the younger grades, and the students get excited about posting those. So I'll keep you updated on those as we have our second assembly. The student challenges that they listed were things like, you know, I'm going to have legible handwriting was one, I think you'll see on the picture. My goal is to read 55 leveled books. So the teachers are really working with the students to really identify a single, keeping it from being overly broad, but something specific, which sometimes is challenging to do with younger students, but I think you'll like the examples there. And then finally, we had our fire safety from our local fire department, and our 4th graders had the opportunity to experience a smokehouse, which is always a highlight, where they can go in and have a room full of smoke, and they have to crawl low, and they get a sense of kind of the chaos that you might experience in a real fire. So it's a really good experience for them, and I'm very appreciative of Eric Rude and the members of the Fairfield Fire Department that really volunteer, and they work with Mrs. Blaze to come up with a great schedule so they come and experience this. So I'd like to say just thank you for the Fairfield Fire Department, and I think we have members from other departments that are involved as well. So thank you.
I understand you had an encounter with a pie.
I was avoiding that, Dr. Baker.
I may have photos.
So, well, we had a fundraiser, Penny Wars, and without going into great detail about it, they were looking for teachers and staff to volunteer, and it's kind of like a contest. The students put pennies in jars, and the teacher staff member that has the most pennies gets a pie in the face. So I had the most pennies. This was going on for about a month, but we raised about $1,500. And so I got 2 pies in my face, one from the first assembly, one in the second assembly. So that was Friday. So the students enjoyed that.
Tell them who threw the pies. Like 2 students actually wrote him
Yes, thank you.
an essay asking if they could throw the pies. And so we had 2 3rd grade students.
Yeah, they didn't ask for that. We're trying to, I mean, I wasn't the one kind of running the program. I didn't know who was going to throw the pie, but I did have 2 students, 2 3rd grade students that just went ahead and wrote this awesome, persuasive piece of writing. So I said, let's go with it. So they took turns and went through the first one and went through the second. So it was a good time. It was a good time.
Clinton's kindergarten has likewise been busy with the fire department. Ms. Gordon?
Thank you. Our kindergartners have been roaming around town a little bit lately. They actually took a walk over to the fire department and had a presentation over there by those folks. They got to sit in trucks and try on equipment and learn all about fire safety, so they're really excited about that. And they've also taken a trip to our local library recently too, where they found out all about the library, and they were also able to take out a library card, so trying to encourage more reading and have them realize that there's more than just our little school library at Clinton Elementary. They can always go over to the town library. Our 1st graders actually spent some time over at Benton Elementary. The planetarium gets set up over there for some of the grade levels, and they get shipped over there. It's just easier that way. And so they put together a schedule for us. Thank you very much. And the 1st graders always really love that. They get to learn about the stars and astronomy and all those wonderful things, planets. So they had a really great time with that. So Lastly, tomorrow, we always have a Spirit Friday every month sponsored by our student council, and tomorrow it's Hillbilly Day. So if anyone feels like putting on their flannels and their boots and all that, and come on over and we'll see where the trophy roams. We have a trophy and a nice little bulldog, stuffed bulldog, to see which class has the most participation. So that's what's happening tomorrow. Thanks.
Thank you. And at Fairfield Primary, I think we're going to hear about Donors Choose again. We've heard of that program before.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry, I gave you the wrong notes, I think.
Would you like me to share your notes?
Well, yes, because I have information on pre-K's Family Violence Project.
Well, I'd love to hear about that.
Oh, I could save the notes about Donors Choose and leave you all, guessing until next time. So last week, the Family Violence Project visited our pre-K classrooms with their program called Bear Thoughts. It's a program that teaches children about sharing and to help them understand that it's really fun to share and important to share. During the program, children are read a book called Bear Thoughts, and using photo cards, they share like feelings and the things they shouldn't share, like toothbrushes and hats, of course. And then the children and teachers practice sharing musical instruments, and they sang a sharing song. To end the visit, each child received their very own bear to keep and to share with others. And the focus with the children is that sharing is a life skill that's part of healthy relationships. No matter how old you are, if children learn to share, they're more likely to share decision-making and their feelings when they become adults. So that's the thinking behind that. In Albion news, Albion Elementary School held a fall Title I night on October 26th. While students heard a seasonal story, parents held their annual Title I Compact meeting. The Compact is an agreement between the school staff and parents that forges an agreement and a commitment to help one another through this partnership that we know helps our students achieve. And here's a copy of the Compact in case you'd like to look at it. It's the one that we share throughout the district. After the Compact meeting, everyone played bingo for books. And for every win of bingo, and while the winner picked a prize, the teachers taught parents some simple strategies they might use at home to help their children. Some of the mini lessons included a 5-finger strategy to help their child pick a right fit book, games readers can play at home for building vocabulary in math and reading, creating number stories, making comparisons using a ruler as a dollar bill, and household objects and games readers play while on the road in a car. Well, everyone had a great time playing bingo, and we'd like to thank our Title I staff for putting on such a great event together. That is Lorene Hinckley-Gordon, our reading recovery teacher, Carol Crothers, our literacy coach and reading interventionist, and Tracy McClary, our math interventionist. Thank you. And you'll hear about Donors Choose next time.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, good evening, everyone. Sorry I'm running a little bit late, so I'm going to assume we're right on to other business. Will the MSAD 49 Board of School Directors vote to go into executive session to interview a candidate for the LJHS Assistant Principal under 1 MRSA subsection 4056D?
So, second.
Moved by Tim, seconded by Terry. All those in favor? 10, 11. 11, 0, 0. So we are going into executive session, so we are all set. We'll take a 5-minute recess or a couple-minute recess.